All right, I'm fashionably late today. Sorry. My, I'm looking at all my little stuff in my room. My daughter had stopped by and redone. She redid my hair this morning, and so it's washed and set and all those kind of good things. But anyway, I have a big event tonight that I'm going to, so I told her you got to come by and get your mama ready. But good morning, good morning. How are you? How are you? Today, I just wanted to know, have you experienced where people have not been kind to you lately? I have, and I said I must speak on it. It's a weird kind of thing that's going on. I don't know what it's all about, when people, just cut you off, give you fingers, step in front of you without an excuse me. I don't know what happened to just kindness. I don't, and I'm trying to figure it out. It's different. It's a different kind of thing that's going on for some reason. I don't understand it. Not quite sure why people are behaving the way they are behaving, but they are definitely different. And I'm hoping that we can look at going forward without, changing how we interact with other people. Um, to me, kindness has always been effortless. We were raised like that as children. We always, it was yes. We didn't have to say yes, ma'am, but we had to say yes and no and thank you and all those kinds of things that say that you acknowledge people. But I'm finding lately that there's less kindness in the world. You know, I know a few people that are kind beyond belief. They are very kind. And then I've met some that are interested in only looking out for themselves. And so those are who we see, who we acknowledge, who we understand as just being them. Good morning, Miss Rosie. How are you? Good to have you in the space. Good to have you in the space. And I know you're kind. I just know that you are a kind-hearted person. But kindness comes with those who understand the significance of it. And I, for myself, believe that there's nothing wrong with being kind. I will always be kind. I mean, regardless of what someone acts like they're treating me, I'm going to respond, as kindly as I can, and then I'm going to dismiss myself from their presence if I realize that they cannot be kind to me, if kindness cannot be returned. And so we have to look at it. So I found some kindness quotes or things that really talk about when we are selfless and kind. It says true love is selfless, but it's also kind. It is. When we think about just the things that people have done for us through the years, it might be through a sickness, or it might be after someone's passing, or us getting through. Sorry for that. Getting through a difficult time and finding, where your neighbors or your friends or your family come through. They come through on just realizing the importance of just being kind. So I want to look at kindness as selflessness. That means I'm not going to get in the way of what I can do for you, even though you may be angry, even though you may be frustrated with me or whatever. I'm still going to forge through and be kind. you know um and I know, good morning, Calethea, I know that people sometimes will just not be kind. They don't want to be, and I think we're going through a period, at least in this country, where I feel that people who have seen that it's they can have their own opinion in their own ways, but they can not acknowledge the fact that you have your own opinion and your ways. they see it. I mean, I'm not telling you don't believe in anything, don't not to go everywhere you want to go. None of that. None of that. But I just want you to acknowledge the fact that kindness to me creates love, creates, you know, what I say, peace. I want to be peaceful where I live. I want to be peaceful when I go someplace that's outside of where I'm living, that somebody's kind to me. And I want to be kind back. My daughter and I, we went out to have dinner the other day, and the young lady was just so sweet and kind that when I left, I made sure that she was recognized for her kindness and her constant attention that she gave us through the tip that I provided. So sometimes we have to realize that we can say things by something that we do that just sheds kindness. So let's get into the word this morning. So kindness, are you kind? Just asking. So kindness, it says, it's the quality of being friendly, generous, and considerate. I always remember my mother telling us that if you can't do nothing else, you need to make sure that you are considerate for what anyone does for you, whatever that is, whatever. Sometimes people, my mother always said they didn't have to do it. Didn't have to do it. We wanted them to do it, but they didn't have to. But the fact that they did made it extremely considerate of them to have considered you, because they could have just avoided you, acted like you didn't exist, acting like you weren't there. But when they do something that's kind, acknowledge it. Acknowledge it. So it says to be kind is to also be kind-hearted, tender-hearted, have the ability to have an affection, warmth, gentleness, tenderness, care, offering care to somebody. This world is hurting right now. I think it's hurting. So in the process of it's hurting, I can't maybe offer them a lot, but what I can offer, which is free, is that I care. I care. It says an offering concern, consideration, being altruistic, selflessness. There's that selflessness. Sympathy. How many of us can offer people sympathy? Okay. Compassion, generosity. Generosity is giving somebody something that they need, and maybe something that we have to be able to give away. In fact, that one of the things I was just talking with my daughter about is it's something I want to do this summer, is just get some things together and just give it away. I've been blessed. I want to bless somebody else with some of the things that I have that still have some life to them, still have some ability that people can use them, wear them, put them in their places of where they live and enjoy them. So kindness also talks about us being courteous and having decency. Okay. So when I break the word down this morning and I'll ask you, are you stuck? Yes. Yes. Occasionally I get stuck, just like you may get stuck. We all get stuck. We get stuck with something, and sometimes some bodies. So when we get stuck, we want to talk about it. Well, what is kind? What is the K for? My K is for being kind-hearted. I want to be having a kind and sympathetic nature, and I know I do. And I check it out. I'm trying not to, I don't answer the call for everybody, because sometimes I realize that the calls are fake, phony. They just come through, like I don't answer every GoFundMe. I do not. I have to have something going on to make it make sense to me that I would assist in that. But to have kind heart, it says, is to be caring, to be kindly, benevolent, meaning you're willing to do something benevolently for someone else. Good-natured, warm. There's that thing again, warm. Feeling, having a feeling of what it is to do something for others. Gentle, compassionate. It says Unpersuading, meaning you don't need anybody to tell you to do it. You want to do it. It's what you want to do. How many of us have seen situations where our help is needed and we walk with the crowd and not walk by ourselves, even though we felt it inside? We felt that we could have done something, but we did nothing. Sometimes our associations help us not to be able to respond when we can. So it, kind-hearted also talks about us being tolerant. How many of us are tolerant of what's going on? We can see hurt, we can see devastation, we can see, trouble, but we never respond. Some of us never respond. I know, don't get me wrong, I know we can't respond to everything that we see. We cannot. But maybe we can be, almost like somebody that can mirror after us and say, well, you know what? She did that. I can do this. She did that, or he did that, or they did that. So it gives us an idea that this is something that's good. It's good to be kind-hearted. It's good to be, gentle with other people and considerate. It also says it's merciful and amicable. All those words pretty much address the fact of being kind-hearted, and so I always ask myself, have I been kind-hearted lately? I know I can't do it every day, and I know there's a lot of life, that I see around, lives that I see around that need attention, that need something. I can only do so much. I can. But I know others, and sometimes just even giving a word out to someone else and saying, hey, look, this situation is going on. Do you think you can help? And I've had people, that's how I've been, helping others sometimes, is just because someone tells me that something else is going on, and I answer it the best way I can. Sometimes it may be a phone call. It may be, or a cell phone call. Or it might be a note sent in the mail, snail. Or it might be that an email, or it might be an online card, or it might be a visit, after the phone call. I don't just visit people. I don't just drop by. But that would all be kind-hearted things, actions. So then when I go on in the word of kindness, I look at my eye, and my eye is this thing called kindness is individualized. It is not something that everybody has to do or will do collectively, even though sometimes those kind hearts all come together and they give out something collectively. They may be helping somebody clean up their house, or, because somebody's sick, or they may be taking someone to a doctor's appointment. They may be doing their hair, they painting their nails, something. Sometimes, but it's an individualized thing. It's not that everybody will do it. It isn't. Sometimes we can be so caught up in all the things that are going on in our own lives that we never think about Sally, John, Jerry, Judy. We don't even think about it. We're caught up. We're involved in our own lives. And not to say that we shouldn't be, because we have to pay attention to what we're doing. We have to. We cannot think that we can go through life and we're so busy looking out that we never, bring some things back home. Sometimes that's how I'm able to do something for others, is because I've been through something. I've been through something. When you're only, when you're in your 30s and, you're losing, your husband, you learn something along the way. You learn who came and who didn't. You learn what to do and what you can't do, and what you have and what you don't have, and what you need and what you have to go out for, and it also gives you the idea that contagiousness comes if it entered your heart, then all of a sudden you're fixed on doing for others what no one was able to do for you, or what someone did for you. You pass it on. You pass on that kindness. So when we move on in our word and of it being individualized, it talks about tailored to suit a particular individual. That would be you or me. We're our own individuals. Okay, so it talks about it being customized, meaning I like to, do this. I love to do, like, I love giving flowers because I'm a flower lover. My favorite flower, I think you all know it by now. My favorite flower are sunflowers. And I had some last week, actually 2 weeks ago, and they just were put in the garbage yesterday. 2 weeks. I can hold on to them for 2 weeks. I know how to take care of them. But to me, that's my love. I see them and they brighten me up, make it where, it just makes my heart sing when I see beautiful, beautiful flowers. But the ones I personally like, individualized now, are my sunflowers. So individualized also talks about being, something that you've differentiated between you and somebody else. It is what it is. This is the way I like it. That's the way you like it. This is the way I'm doing it. So I like my kindness done out this way to these individuals or to that association, to this family member. You understand it, you get it, So it talks about it being, basically something that is a distinguished thing for you. If it's individualized, you've distinguished how you want to do it. If it's left, right, up, down, the leverage that you're putting into it. And it's also your mark. Sometimes people will know you just by the way in which you carry yourself and you use your kindness. They remember it. I was talking to someone after their mother died, and I love the mother. And her name was Miss Fredonia. And Miss Fredonia, for some reason, loved me so much from the time I met her till she passed away. She loved me. She just thought I was the coolest little woman. And she'd always say to me, she'd call up and say, is this, she couldn't say my name. Is this Miss Benbone? I said, it is. I've been born. I'm here for you. And I would always take her flowers or candy. And I remember her last Valentine's Day, I took her a jar of candy and some flowers. And she was overjoyed. She was overjoyed. And she passed away maybe about 3 weeks after that. That's the last time I saw her. But my thing is that when you have an opportunity to be kind, do it. Because you don't know if that's the last time that you'll be kind or you'll be kind to someone, in need. Sometimes they just need something from you. It could be a smile. It could be a hug. It could be just something special. And coming from you versus maybe somebody that's even closer to them in proximity. But when it's individualized, it's also marked. So it's something particular to you, something distinguished by you, something customized just for you. That's how you operate. We move in our word of kindness. My N of kindness is for the nature. Our nature is our nature, okay? Sometimes you can go back and look at certain people. Hey, Jean. Bringing in neighbors, transition before the storms. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's kindness. Okay. That's kindness. There's other ways that we, and I'm quite sure you can say that you've been kind. And I remember we had a storm, and I don't remember which storm it was, but it was a bad one. It was a bad one. I want to say it was like, we had a hurricane level 3 or something in the area. And I remember all our lights were out, and I think mine were out for like 10 days. And I said, well, that food in the freezer, I'm just going to go out. So all the neighbors got together, and we all brought food, and whatever we had in our houses, we shared it. We shared it. And by it being cooked, we had a way of being able to hold on to it a little bit longer. We didn't have to, and it wasn't that it was so hot. It was just weird. It was just a weird type of storm that, well, actually it was actually I don't know what she's saying every day, but every day she says something about this time, which is kind of crazy. But anyway, thank you, Jean. That's so true that sometimes you have to do those things. It says Kindness is like integrity. Would you do it even if no one can see you? Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, that's the way I generally like to do it. Just do something for somebody and go on about my business, But it does say it is our nature. So if it's not in your nature, it doesn't show up, okay, as anything. It has to be a part of your nature. It says nature is the basic or inherent features of something, especially when seen as a characteristic of it. So therefore, it's in you. If you have that ability where you see where you can fit in to help somebody, you do it. You're not asking for permission, you just do it. So it says it's the essence of who you are. It's the substance, the character, the type, and there it is, the kind, Kind. It's your style, your classification, your way of doing things. That's what it is. If kindness is in your nature, it's a part of who you are, period. My D in kindness, as I move on in my word of kindness, is decency. Decency is the quality or the state of being decent. Sometimes you see where you can fit in and you need to do what? Try to fit in if you want to. It's the decorum of a person, the form of a person, and the propriety of them. If I see something that I can certainly address, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, and not think anything more about it. Just do it and move on. Do it and move on. I don't need the recognition. I just wanted to do something where someone, needs help. Someone needs encouragement, or someone just needs a hug, just needing something, and you can fit in. That's important. My N, after my D, my N is for niceness. And I said, well, I could call it nicety, but I said niceness, just a point of being polite and kind. A very nice person. That's what someone who is has niceness. They're just very kind. They don't mind being decent. They don't mind being genteel, respectful, befitting. Also, it says correct. Now, it might not be correct in somebody else's eyes that you're helping somebody, but it's correct in your own because it's individualized. If there's something that you want to do it. No questions asked, just do it. Sometimes people, I find, when they receive something that wasn't expected, the joy that you see in them is the joy that you take away with you when you leave. That's what it is. To me, it's passed on. You see it. You say, wow, I see the light. I see them being happy. I see them joyful. I see them being excited about something that they did not expect. And that's wonderful. We move on our word of kindness. My E, my second E is for empathy. My first E is for empathy. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. You don't know. You don't know what people are going through, but you see their situation and you want to address it. That's good. That's a good thing. Sometimes we don't realize that people will never tell you what you're going through, but you may get an idea of what they're dealing with because you do see them. You do acknowledge them. And that seeing and understanding says, wow, I get this. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling what they can't speak on. I'm feeling what I see is going on in their lives. It's tough. It's tough. So empathy talks about it being affinity with, rapport with, sympathy with, you meaning you've aligned yourself with, trying to get an understanding of where they are. And it says understanding of, sensitivity forward and towards somebody else, sensitivity to somebody else, identifying with, because it says identification, but identifying with what else you see. Sometimes we see things and we turn our head, where other times we see things and we go right to it. We step to it. And it says fellow feeling for, you have that connection, that heart-like connection. It says understanding like-mindedness, understanding togetherness, and feeling this thing called chemistry. Sometimes you don't even realize that you have chemistry with someone else, only because you have connected, but only in the need portion does it reconnect. And then it connects solidly. You say, listen, they need me, I'm going to go. They need me, I want. I've had friends who were experiencing bad things going on, and I drove to them. I made sure I got on the road. I made sure I came with whatever I thought they might need in their distress. Sometimes we just step to it. And that's our empathy. What we're really looking at, am I forming and keeping this closeness so that they realize you're not alone? How many of us realize that we aren't alone until we allow ourselves to get in those positions of self, and we forget that, yeah, we were born by ourselves, unless we had a twin. We were born by ourselves. We would leave this world by ourselves. But while we're here, we should do our best to find empathy in others. And this next word, that which is my first S, and sympathy in others. Sympathy for others, the ability to understand and share the feelings with someone else. That's sympathy. Okay? Empathy and sympathy, very close. Very, very close. Ability to understand that you're going through, I'm needed. I'm going through, you are needed. So sympathy talks about the affinity with, rapport with, also understanding, having a way to feeling and looking for what is needed here. What can I do? That's sympathy. What can I do? It's not just a card. It's not just the money in the card. Do you need something else? Do you need a ride? Do you need, an airplane, ticket? What do you need? And sometimes I'm going to say this, and hear me out. You cannot address all of the need that is there, but you address what you can until where you're comfortable in doing it. Don't try to address it where you've taken it all on and you've fallen short. Do what you can, and be honest about what you can do. Because, people sometimes ask me, can you? And I tell them I can do this. That's it. They're okay with that. Somebody that's realizing your kindness, your empathy and sympathy, they're going to take it and be appreciative of it. And I like that. I like that I'm not trying to, outreach my capacity. If I already know that my capacity is here and I have other obligations, I'm going to go to what I can do and not try to overstretch to what I cannot. I can't do it. And the last word is absolutely selflessness. When we have selflessness, that means the lack of preoccupation with one's own interests, own advancements, own desires, and attentiveness to others. It says, and attentiveness to those of others is unselfish. Now, I know a lot of us may have trouble with that because we're used to saying I. Are we not? Sure we are. I say I. But it's when we realize that we can make it an occasional we can make an occasional thee, we can occasional us, and it doesn't always have to be so selfish that all you see is yourself and anyone beyond you you do not see. So obviously selflessness is really tough for some people because it talks about being altruistic, being charitable. Sometimes I want to be charitable, but I can't. Why? I'm obligated. Let's face it. Sometimes the obligations just pull on us. Something we got to do. something we got to do already. It's already in the in what I say, in the payment system. Either payment in your time or payment for financially forward of things you got to take care of. So doesn't mean that what's happening with them coincides with your ability to help and understand that. But when you can realize that I'm not selfless enough, where I'm in myself so much, or selfish enough that I'm in myself so much that I don't see what I can do, and then look to see that I'm able, I'm going to do it. That's what you look at. So selflessness talks about being altruistic, charitable, generous, being a humanitarian, loving, magnanimous, noble, and self-effacing. All those words are big words, but all they really stand up for is how kind are you when you can be. When you can be. You don't have to do it all the time. Okay? Own up to the fact that when it's not what you can do at the time, you're there. Can't do it. But when you can, and even if it's something small, I say, if it's within you, if it's your nature, do it. If you can offer empathy and sympathy, do it. If you can really look at how the fact that you are not selfish and that you're kind-hearted, and it's your choice, which is an individualized choice, it's in your nature of being decent and kind and nice, do it all. Do as much as you can do. This is a tough world we're in right now, and I see where sometimes people who are in need may not feel anyone will rescue them, or anyone, and maybe you can't rescue them all the way. Maybe you can't be, seeing the damsel in distress and remaining there with them, but do what you can if you can do it, and then be absolutely at peace and feeling pleasantry for the fact that you did something and it was okay with your peace, okay with your comfort, okay as you're moving forward to this in this life, where tough times eventually will come. But when we are out of tough times and we can help others, help them through their tough times. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this session. Listen, I'm going to let you go because I finished today. At 9:35. Good. I'll be back I'm going to try to come back on Monday, but my daughter's going to have surgery on Friday, so I'm going to be out on Friday for sure, but I'm going to try to work on Monday and bringing you another session of Are You Stuck? Certainly we get stuck. We do. But I appreciate any prayers you can put up for my daughter. She, it is major surgery, so she'll be in the hospital a couple of days, and then we'll try to make arrangements for her to be comfortable once she's discharged. Okay? I love you guys. I appreciate you so much. If you don't do anything else, hit the share button and let the message be shared that I am out here doing what I can to say, are you stuck? I'll say yes. We'll work on it together, okay? I love you and appreciate you so much. Thank you. Have a good day.